ISIL has released a video reportedly showing the presence of its own police force in Libya. It shows the so-called Islamic Police dressed in uniforms and patrolling the streets of Sirte, the ISIL stronghold in the North African state. It's believed the video was released by ISIL to manifest their grip on the Libyan city. The terror group now holds territories far beyond Syria and Iraq. U.S. officials recently compared it to a growing tumor.
In Iraq and in Syria, ISIL has suffered some significant setbacks. That doesn't mean that they don't remain a threat. They do. We've seen them try to get a toehold in North Africa.
Even as we work to defeat ISIL in Syria and Iraq, where its parent tumor has grown, we also recognize ISIL has metastasized elsewhere.
While currently concentrated in its stronghold in Sirte, ISIL could seek local alliances to expand its territorial control, also entailing the risk of motivating additional foreign terrorist fighters to join the group in Libya.
Currently, ISIL's presence in Libya is concentrated in areas around their stronghold Sirte. However, the group is engaged in fighting for the control of the strategic port city of Ajdabiya. Now, if it falls, ISIL will have access to Libya's largest oil field. Now, Western jets are on standby at bases just across the Mediterranean. However, neither of the two Libyan governments, the official one in Tobruk or the self-proclaimed one in Tripoli, none of them are willing to allow any foreign operations. Now, despite local officials refusing the idea of intervention, just a few days ago, the Pentagon did admit that a U.S. Special Forces unit had been secretly deployed in Libya for an operation. The unit's presence was revealed, perhaps rather embarrassingly, after their photos appeared on the Libyan Air Force's Facebook page. 20 U.S. combat-ready troops arrived at one of Libya's air bases last Monday, but they were turned back by local commanders who apparently didn't authorize any operation. According to the Pentagon, their now aborted mission was limited to engaging in dialogue with the Libyan National Army. Now, if the West does get Libya's approval to engage in a combat mission against ISIL there, it would be the second time in 5 years the international community has had to intervene in Libya. Hillary Clinton, the then U.S. Secretary of State and now a presidential candidate, had to answer questions about the 2011 campaign during the most recent Democratic debate.
I'm not giving up on Libya, and I don't think anybody should. We've been at this
But were mistakes made?
There's always a retrospective to say what mistakes were made, but I know that we offered a lot of help.
The truth is, it is relatively easy to overthrow a dictator, but it is very hard to predict the unintended consequences.
Well, Professor of Politics Stephen Zunes thinks that the West paid little attention to the infighting and chaos in Libya before the emergence of ISIL.
They definitely could get a foothold given the failure of the Libyans to have a centralized government that most of the people of the country recognize. The West, which led the air war against Gaddafi in support of various rebel groups that led to his downfall in 2011. Frankly, many of them were willing to wash their hands of the affair. I don't think there's much care about the Libyan people per se, but when we see the risk that actually ISIS could emerge as a real force there, then they recognize, we got a problem here. We need to be active diplomatically. We need to knock some heads together, see if they can make some kind of arrangement so there can be a centralized authority that might be able to take on this threat from within.